Kimmy Gadget Goddess, and today I have my 1 month update on the Google Pixel Fold. I seem to find that most people are not questioning what I absolutely like about this phone, what I don't like. Most people are asking how I feel about this phone in relation to this phone. Stick around. We'll do a little, session on how I feel about this phone versus this phone. Where's my main SIM? What's going to happen? Let's get into it. This is me coming to you, letting you know how I feel about these two phones because so many people have asked. I still think the Oppo Find N2 is one of the best phones ever created. There's a reason I still have my Oppo Find N1. But let me be clear. When I told you that this was a heavy phone, I wasn't lying. I feel like it's I'm struggling to pick it up like that. I feel like it's darn near double the weight of this phone that I could just kind of throw around. It's definitely wider and it's even taller. I felt like this was the perfect form factor. I told many people that anybody who makes a phone with this design, I'm willing to buy it. I didn't mind. This was a little bit wider, a little bit heavier. A lot of the articles I've covered in my live streams have said, hey, I love this phone and I don't know why. I can tell you why I love this phone. I love this phone because the software is second to none. You cannot get better software than on the Google Pixel, period. And I'm not talking about just the Fold. Google puts out great software, the call screening, the everything that you can't get on any other device. Of course, when you pick this up, you're like, hey, not only do I have a premium phone, because yes, this is a very premium phone. I mean, both of these phones have matte backs. They're just great phones to have. I even used literally the same cases on both phones. I'm carbon fiber down on both. I have a lot more variety in my accessories over here with the Google Pixel. I have just a few accessories because this is an imported device. My battery life is supreme on this phone. Update. I downloaded Android 14 beta. And my battery life is a good day and a half now. I don't go by screen on time. I go by how often I have to charge my phone. When I carry this phone, I can get home. I can go to bed with 60 or 70% left on this phone. I get a solid 2 days out of the Oppo Find N2. I'm getting a good day and a half out of my Google Pixel phone. Is that terrible? No. But when I first got the phone, I was barely getting a day. If your battery life is sketch, you might want to download Android 14 beta. It changed my life. Now that being said, it's not a deal breaker with the battery life. Currently, my main SIM is in this device. Secondaries over here. Both phones get the same alerts outside of phone calls. Now, I've done this just because I've enjoyed call screening. I missed it while I was over here. And it really does get rid of a lot of spam calls. Even when you go back to a regular phone, quote unquote regular phone, a non-Pixel device, it takes a while for those telemarketers to come back. I did a weekend of putting it back into the other phone, but I came back, just to play around with it and get a feel for it. It's nothing wrong with having multiple devices and saying, hey, you know what? I want to go back to my old device. I'm not like some of my counterparts that will change devices daily. I don't have time for all that because I have to back up my text messages, send them to the other phone, back up my call log, send them to the other phone. It's just a lot of work. If I'm switching out, it's usually on the weekend. If you haven't picked up on it already, there's not like, oh my God, one phone is kicking the other phone's butt here. I do enjoy both of these devices a lot. So, when people come at me like, which one do you like better? Okay, I've had them a month. Let's be clear. When you compare, it's like comparing kids or something. I only have one child. But, if you ask somebody, well, which one of your children do you like better? These are my kids. Like, you have reasons behind what you do things. And what I like is not going to be what you like. A lot of people don't even like imported devices. I talk to people all the time that says, I love the Oppo, but I couldn't get my notifications to come through. Cool. I had my notifications. I wasn't missing anything. At the same time, you have people that are like, hey, there's nothing better than a Pixel. I get that. People really enjoy the Pixel life, and I get it. I enjoy the Pixel life too. My watches work fine on both of these phones. I still have the Huawei Limited Edition and the Huawei GT2 Pro, regular and ceramic white, and they work just fine with both phones. I've always enjoyed the Huawei watches because they work with Android, they work with Apple, they work with my imports. I don't like to be limited to what I compare my watch to, and I don't like limited battery life. Week here, week on my other one. So that's what I'm using. When it comes to headphones, I'm using Soundpeaks that I'm testing right now. I'm using Soundcore Sports that I personally purchased and paired to my car. So everything's working fine with devices being paired to the car, the Bluetooth, you know, no issues with either device. Let's briefly go back to battery life for a second. So before I ran Android Beta 14, I completely wiped the phone and started from scratch without syncing a phone to this phone to set up all my apps. A very tedious process of setting up each app and logging in, and you know, it's when you're just syncing it across, it's fun and everything, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't have a rogue app that was draining my battery life, and truly I didn't. The standby was draining my battery life. So I don't know how many people experienced that. I know people who picked up this phone, started using it without issue and had great battery life. I know people who synced from old phones and used it without issue. I only had one other issue with a Pixel. It wasn't even battery life. When I got my very first Pixel from Team Pixel, it was the 5A. I woke up like the day after I set it up. Everything was set to silent. And I was just like, okay, is this normal? I had to contact people I knew with Pixels. I contacted Barry Johnson. And I was like, hey, is this how this works? Do I need to set up alerts for my phone? And literally, I ended up wiping the phone and setting it up from scratch. So I thought that was going to be the fix to the battery life here, and it was not. I don't have rhyme or reason to whose phones get good battery life and whose don't. I do know that I haven't heard any complaints from anybody running Android 14 beta. I say get in where you fit in. I'll even link in the description where you can sign up and get your beta if you want it. It's not going to ruin your phone. Yeah, go get it. Last but not least, I'm going to cover my wish list for the Google Pixel Fold 2. Yes, I'm getting ahead of myself because I can do that. This is my channel. I do what I want. I'm Folderella. I've carried a lot of folds and I'm allowed to have a wish list, so that's what I'm doing. My wish list for the Google Pixel Fold 2 would be a tiny bit narrower. Not narrow like a Samsung. Like when I say narrow, I mean like this narrow. Just a little bit, because this is a little bit narrower than the, just a little bit. But it makes a difference when I don't have big hands. I got long fingers, but I don't have big hands. A little bit lighter, okay? I'm not asking for any major, like, oh my God, make it do flips. No, this phone is a wonderful device. It does not need tons and tons of change. I am all for the Huawei concept of putting your best cameras in your foldables. Get familiar, all companies. I don't know why Huawei is the only company that will put their best camera in their foldable devices, but everybody needs to be doing that. For what we're paying for foldables, at least what I'm paying, because I'm getting a lot of foldables, you need to give me all the bang I can get for my buck. Better cameras. Not that these are bad, but yo, I want top cameras. Give me the best. I'd like to have this phone in more colors. Porcelain was nice. I just couldn't tell whether the rails were gold or silver. Asked Jay Will. I was like, is that gold or is it silver? He said it's both. I was like, stop it. But I think it depends on the lighting. Even though I got it from Google, I went with black. I'm very much a gold girl. I wear a lot of gold, but I don't like silver. This black is matte black. I have a protector back here if you're worried about the fingerprints you see back here. That's from the protector on the phone. But I like the black trim around the hinge and the rails. I think once I get my black crystal case, it's really going to set this off and make it a beautiful phone. If you haven't seen my crystal case that I love so much, I'll post a link to the video here. Even though I got the spatial audio on, make it a little louder for me. Just a little louder. I want to go deaf. No, I'm just kidding. But make it a little louder, you know, just a tad. That might be it for my wish list. Every innovation of a phone, the battery life should get better. So this is not me complaining about the battery life on this phone, because for a first generation foldable device, and I've carried a bunch of them. I had the Xiaomi Fold. I had my first Samsung was the Z Fold 2. I had the Z Flip first generation. I had the Oppo Flip first generation. I had the Vivo Flip first generation. Just listen, I've had a lot of them. As a first generation device, I have to give props where they're due. Google Pixel killed it for first gen. Feel how you want to feel, but as a first generation device, Google knocked it out the park. I'm not trying to have the knights in my comments, but that first Samsung Fold was a fail. I don't care who you are. I don't care what accessories it came with. It was a flipping fail. This is a win all the way around. Pixel did it on their first gen. So I can't wait to see what they bring in the second gen. This phone's not going anywhere. Now where it stands in my lineup, we'll see. But right now, the main SIM is still here. And this is in the rotation. My birthday's coming up, so you know I'm about to add something to the arsenal. Hey, it's my birthday. I'm supposed to add something to the arsenal. But either way, I'd like to thank you for stopping by for my 1 month update with the Google Pixel Fold. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you've enjoyed multiple videos on this channel, consider subscribing. Subscriptions are free. Memberships cost, and memberships have privileges. If you'd like to see what those privileges are, click on the join button. That way you can see what each tier of membership might have to offer you. I'd like to thank you for your time, because time is money. And I hope to catch you on a future video on this channel.